Yo, what up, Street Talks there, Kim? Alright, the thought. So, let us assume we've established the fact that the purpose of life and existence is to create. So then comes the question, how does one create more and become more creative? And so I have some basic thoughts. So, I think we're happiest when we're in a creative flow where we just focus on our creativity and nothing else. And for me, it's kind of like that, like Dionysian drunken state where you're just so focused on creating your creations, stuff like that, that like everything else fades away to the background, that you don't gotta worry nothing else about nothing else and stuff like that. And I think it's when we humans, we feel maximally alive and optimistic and happy and stuff like that. And so I like the kind of more of like the Leonardo da Vinci method of creativity, where you engage and activate all of your different creative muscles, abilities, and faculties. So for example, not for you to only be a visual artist, but experimenting, making music, beats and stuff like that. Even my homeboy Soren's been making beats on Logic and stuff like that. And so I think that more we could, just kind of experiment with different modes of creation, the better. So for example, you could do vlogs, you could do short video clips, you could write poetry, you could write prose, you could write blog posts, you could write articles, you could write, listicles, whatever you have it. You could go on a walk. And it does seem that, at least for me, my creativity and productivity, the way it works for me is the more time I spend outdoors just walking and thinking, the better. The more time I spend at home, the less creative thoughts come to me. So, certainly, I don't know how COVID's affecting you and your state or space or whatever, where, I would say insofar much as legally permissible, spend as much time outdoors as possible, be distant from people or whatever, and some very practical things. So for example, I've discovered that it's hard for me to think or write or talk or vlog when I'm just kind of at home in a very static environment. I actually find it far more easy and productive when I'm actually walking around in public. And one of the things that's been helpful is I'm doing a vlog on this Lumix G9. I have the Leica Lumix 12mm 1.4 lens, which is roughly a 24mm full frame equivalent. And I got this Rode video mic on top with the Windjammer, which means it allows me more opportunities to be walking outdoors and vlogging and sharing my ideas with less staticness. So I think the more you could add dynamism to your life, movement, even driving around, riding your bike, running, walking, whatever it may be, the better. And one of the things I've been thinking about is, for me, the ideal would be, while you're awake, you're just in the creative flow all day, and then when you go to sleep, you could just go to sleep like a rock. And in that sense, I find that trying to optimize and prioritize your sleep is extremely important. One thing that, I've made this mistake before, but maybe in the future I won't, where even with your apartment, your house, your abode, wherever you're living, next time you need to sign a lease or something like that, make sure to check out the neighborhood and try not to live on a busy street. So ideally, if you can live in a place with the least amount of street noise, the better, because that's going to help you with your sleep. And during the day, drink plenty of, water, black coffee and stuff like that to kind of get your creative juices flowing. And And yeah, and if you want to go outside and walk around more, just wear some warm ass clothes, depending on the weather wherever you are. Other ideas, you know, you could even drive your car to the park or drive your car to the downtown, just walk around a bit. You could even use your phone, your iPhone, Android, whatever, to take pictures, shoot videos, vlogs, stuff like that. Write blog posts. I personally like to use the IA Writer app when I'm, you know, writing stuff down or even notes. And yeah, and I also do really believe in this idea, this art of cross-pollination, where you're kind of studying different art forms, and you're not just kind of like allowing yourself to just stay kind of stuck in one reductive category. So for example, if you're a photographer, you don't need to just study photography. You could also study architecture, you could study painting, you could study calligraphy, you could study poetry, you could study sculpture, you could study 3D art, you know, virtual reality, Oculus is things which also kind of interest me. And yeah, there's a brave new world of arts and creativity with this pandemic world we're living in, which I think is quite exciting. So yeah, so essentially I would say do it all. Walking, riding, thinking, working out, getting fresh air. A pro tip, a good way to get some creative ideas if you're feeling in a slump during the middle of the day, just jump in the shower and take an icy cold shower. That kind of certainly gets the blood flowing. Or even just going to the gym, going to the park, get a few reps in, get a good pump, get the blood flow up. Even studying like architecture, automotive design is something that's interesting to me. And yeah, and I think the ultimate art of creativity is the art of cross-pollination, where you're like a honeybee, you're jumping from one flower to the next. And it's more about creating new connections and novel connections and remixing, upcycling, sampling, whatever it may be, and creating something new.